stuff, so a lot of people already know you, but for those who may tune in and don't know you, can you tell us a little bit about you and what you do?
Okay,
Okay,
so it is
it is
great to
great
be
to be
here.
here.
I'm Dr.
I'm Dr.
Shan.
Shan.
I've kind
I've
of
kind of
created that
created that
name for
name for
myself
myself
because I
because
am
I
a
am a
physician.
physician.
I am
I
a
am a
general
general
surgery
surgery
resident,
resident
spine
by
brain,
brain,
and
and
I
I
started
started
doing
doing
social
social
media,
media,
kind of just
kind of just
showing
showing
my,
my,
day in the
day in the
lives
lives
of
of
a
a
first started as
first
a
started as a
medical
medical
student and
student
then
and
kind
then
of took
kind of took
off,
off,
and I
and I
started doing
started
a
doing
lot
a
more
lot more
as
as
a
a
resident.
resident.
And I
And I
think
think
initially
initially
wanting
wanting
to
to
show
show
what life
life
looks
looks
for a
for a
Black
Black
woman in
woman in
medicine,
medicine,
and a
and a
lot of
lot of
people
people
gravitated
gravitated
towards
towards
that.
that.
And I
And
just
I just
continue doing
continue doing
that. I
that. I
love
love
encouraging,
encouraging,
love
love
motivating my
motivating my
people.
people.
And I
And
think
I
my
think my
social media
social
is
media
just
is
a
a
great
great
way
way
to,
to,
one, to
one,
reach
to reach
back
back
and bring
and bring
people
people
into the
to
field
the
of
field of
medicine,
medicine,
and
and
to
to
just kind of
just kind
show
of
what a
show
life
what a life
looks
looks
like.
like. Okay. So I see a few comments coming in saying that there's an echo, but I'm not hearing the echo.
There's an
There's an
echo for
echo
me
for me
too.
too. So is the echo on? So let me see who is talking to us. I see. Is the echo coming from my side or Shanali's side? She is echoing. So I think it's your side.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't know. The
I don't
echo
know.
is
The
coming
echo
from
is
when I
coming from when
speak.
I speak. Okay.
I'm saying,
I'm saying,
Shanna, you have a
Shanna,
third.
you have a third. Me?
Yeah.
Yeah. If I have, I can. So what did Joshua ask? I can't
If you
hear.
have a
If
third
you have a
device,
third device. Oh, no, none of my devices are on.
click on your
Click on your
setting and
setting and
see if
see
you
if
can go to
you can go
audio
to
and see if
audio and see
echo
if echo
cancellation is
cancellation
checked.
is checked. If which one?
Echo
Visual? Echo
cancellation.
cancellation. Let me see. Try that. Go ahead and talk.
Okay.
Is that better?
Yeah, I think so. Yes, for sure.
Awesome sauce. All right. Thank you for all of our viewers who are tuning in for that. All right. So, yes, can you go ahead and tell us again a little bit about yourself for those of
Okay.
us with the echo?
Okay, yeah, I'll start over since that the echo kind of messes things up. But again, like I'm Dr. Shan MD, and I got the name Dr. Shan because I am a physician. I am a general surgery resident, and I started doing my social media. I started in medical school as a way to just showcase what it looks like to be a Black woman in medicine. Started initially doing day in the lives and things like that, and it kind of took off. And then when I got into residency, a lot of people really wanted to follow the journey, and a lot of what I do is because I really want to inspire other Black women in medicine, because of course I'm in a field that is predominantly white male, and I really wanted to be able to encourage people like myself to be in this field. And a lot of people, it's been motivating a lot of people, it's been inspiring people, and they've been inspiring me too. And so I've just been continuing to do what I do, just to kind of reach back and help as many people as I can.
Yeah, no, that is deep, because I know when you said surgeon. So initially I was excited because I was like, plastics, your girl is looking for some touch-ups. But at any rate, Philip might have a different thought on that. But still though, to see you where you are and what you're accomplishing is a big deal, because there are a lot of little Black, brown girls who might think it's not possible, and we take our hats off to you to be even doing that. And
for sure, yeah.
Part-time. Listen, so before we dive into the entrepreneurship aspect of it, I know as a medical student, you guys incur quite a bit of debt. So let's talk about that for a minute. Like, it's financial literacy month. So what advice can you give to those who are planning to pursue medical school or medicine in general, and the potential debt they may incur or get into?
Listen, man, that debt is going to be there. I will say that you don't realize how much debt you're getting into until you see all that lump sum all at once. And then it's like, oh my gosh, what is happening? Because that was how I felt when I first saw how much debt I had when I did my exit exam and all of that, graduating from medical school. I was like, whoa. But I will say that debt is going to be there. So if you feel like I want to pursue medicine and this is genuinely what you want to do, do it for yourself. the returns are going to come back. You're going to make a lot of money back, and you're going to help so many people along the way, that debt, you're going to look at it as like more of a smaller part of what that big purpose is for you. I mean, of course, the debt is a lot. And as a first generation medical student, for me, it's like, wow, that's a lot of money. But I also know that like one day I'm going to be making a lot where I am able to pay that back, so that that money can go back into, helping someone else who wants to go into medical school. And so, don't think about it as, oh my gosh, I'm going to have so much debt, I don't want to do this. I don't think you should let the debt be like a deciding factor of whether or not you want to go to medical school, but always have it in the back of your head, like, I'm going to have this debt. And then, of course, there are ways that you can help to tackle this debt. So, you can get scholarships, and that's one way. I think my husband and I both had scholarships in medical school, and that's one way that we helped kind of bring the debt down just a little bit. And then, also, like, there are different options out there to help pay off your debt to, get to that level.
Okay. So that option that you're talking about, can you talk to us about the strategies that you're currently using, if any, to pay off your debt while you're in residency? Because
I think the big one that we use, which I think a lot of people are familiar with, is the PSLF. And that is one where, we pay for 10 years, and then, they pay off the rest for us. And that's something that we started doing right as soon as we graduated medical school, actually. And so even though we're in residency, and there was a point in time when, we weren't really paying on the debt because of some of the laws that Biden had in place, we were still, it was still contributing to our PSLF. And so that was actually counting towards our 200 payments that we have to make. And so even me, because for me, residency is 5 years. And so that for me is going to be 5 years of me paying off. So once I'm done, it's going to be just an additional 5 years, and then I should be done.
Oh, wow.
That's one,
yeah, that's smart. That's really smart. So basically, after you graduate, you can work somewhere like in the public sector for another 5 years.
So, yeah, you have to work at a nonprofit organization that supports the PSLF, which there's a lot of programs that do. Because at Grady, where my husband works, that's one program. Where I work is one of those hospitals as well. So there's a lot of hospitals within the Atlanta area that does it. And so it should be fairly, easy to get into.
So you talked about you have a lot of debt, right, in medical school. And I don't imagine that you could work, because the way I saw you guys studying, amount of stuff you missed.
Listen.
But I want to know, were you able to budget and save or anything like that while in med school, even while you're in residency now? Like, are you able to budget and save? Like, how do you approach those things? And how did you approach it in med school? And how are you carrying that over into your residency?
So I think that I have always been like a budget queen. Like my budgeting skills is just, and I think one of the biggest things is that for me, I am like, my dad always taught me, if you have $10, you can save half of that, because if you were making $5, you would have made that $5 work. And that's something that I have lived with my entire life. I believe 1000%. I'm going to be saving and budgeting my money like I'm making half. And I think that was one thing in medical school. We weren't making money, but we were getting a refund, because that's kind of how we live, is you get a little bit of a refund, and that refund, you have to know how to budget it, because you're getting it once every semester. And so if you're getting a lump sum, say $10,000, and that's supposed to last you for 5-6 months, you have to know how to say, okay, I'm going to save some of this so that for every month I have this amount. And by the time you get to the last month of the semester, you're out of money and waiting for your next check. And I don't like waiting for a check. So I think that I try to follow that method of, okay, I only have half this money, because the next half I'm going to save. I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. And that's kind of how I really budgeted my money. And I took a lot of that into residency with me. I'm in a budget as much as I can, because if I wasn't making this much money, I would have to live, and I'm living off of it. So yeah.
Yeah. No, he told you $10. You told me $1. He said,
listen,
I guess
The same math.
yeah, he kind of like, replenishes it and says, if you make $1, you can save 50 cents, because if you only made 50 cents, you would have
Yeah.
55. So
And I mean, it's a fair thing. Like, it's really honestly like
yeah.
you would have been living off of that $5 for sure.
Yeah, if you didn't have it, right, you'd have to make it work. So, do you have any resources or any type of support for people who may be going through medical school right now or residency, of how to navigate their financial challenges? Because not everybody had a dad like us who would sit us down and tell us these things, right? So, do you use like Excel? Is there like a template that you use? Like, what type of stuff do you use to help you navigate your finance?
I will some of the things that I use, I don't use an Excel sheet, and that's probably because I struggle with figuring out how to use Excel anyways. But I like to write things down. So I will be on my iPad jotting down my, like, okay, here are my expenses, my fixed expenses, my miscellaneous, the things that we're going to spend on. And then of course you always have the budgeting for that what if. Okay, what's going to pop up that I didn't anticipate that I need to pay for? I'm gonna always budget that stuff in as well. And so I just like to kind of write down our budget every month. I mean, it's kind of like an Excel sheet, of course. But and then, I'm fortunate enough to have family members who are well versed in, finances, and I get a lot of advice. I get a lot of advice from you all the time. So, and definitely like conversations like these where, it's easy to just pop up on YouTube and watch a couple of videos of, Sharpe sessions talking about, financing and budgeting. It's very resourceful.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Yeah, a lot of people neglect to just even research. If you don't know how to do something, just research it.
Yeah.
Ask a friend or a family or something like that, because the information is out there. All right. So thank you for that piece. Thank you
Yeah.
for that piece. And now we're gonna dive into the entrepreneurship part, right? Listen, I remember earlier this year, so I don't want to get too much in your business, but she was planning for something and she was like, I need a viral video. And 2 days later, this girl had a viral video that was 18 million, had 18 million views. And I'm like, I need to hire you for my marketing agent or something. But before we even go that far down, how did you become this digital content creator? Like, you're in med school. How did you even find time? Talk to us about that.
It was a lot easier to do in medical school. I'll say that, because as a general surgery resident, I don't have as much time to really be as consistent as I was. But I will say that, I love social media, and I tell people all the time, social media, it's a lot of fun. It's great. And since I'm on it, why not use it as a way to monetize? And that was kind of one of the things that I did. And because a lot of people enjoy what I'm saying, and I enjoy, people giving me feedback and comments and saying they enjoy what I'm posting, just gives me even more motivation to keep going. And so I've just been really, going, posting, and kind of doing all that stuff. And I mean, the money is just the perks that comes with it.
So did you like sit down? Because a lot of people will tell you have to like batch record, and you have to plan out the weeks and do you do all of that? I can't imagine you doing that with all that.
I don't batch create content. I try to so my strategy is I know I'm not going to post every single day, because that's just not how my schedule is set up. There's some days when I have a 24-hour shift, and I say this all the time. When I'm at work and I am busy at work, I'm not going to be making content. I am not going to pause in the middle of a trauma to record anything. So if I'm not busy, that's when I record. And so sometimes my vlogs, to me, I'm like, okay, this might not be the best vlog because it's not showing the action, but I'm not going to be recording anything if I'm because patient care comes first. This is my job.
Right.
And so I try to at least do 3 or 4 times a week, try to get at least one video out. And I like to post one longer video, and then I try to do follow the trends here in the videos. So I try to do a trend or two here and there just to kind of, stay up with what's going on, keep up with everything with the viral videos and all of that. But I don't batch create, but I think it's a pretty good idea to do for sure.
Okay. So you're a little bit different or unconventional than the other.
Yes, a little bit. I think if you're a full-time content creator, it's easy to batch content because this is something that you do all day, every day. But
Right.
like I have a 12 to 12. And so I have a 12-hour shift, not a 12 to 12, but I have a 7 to 7. And
Yeah.
so I wake up at 5:30 in the mornings and I roll out of bed and go to work. I don't have time to start recording and doing all that every day. So I roll out of bed, I go to work. By the time I get there, it's always so much going on. And so
Mhm.
sometimes in between I might record, but it's not something that I can do every day. So I don't try to do it every day. But I'm
Okay.
proud of how consistent I am though. For
No,
sure.
no, yes. I'll be like anywhere and I'm like, Dr. Shen posted a video. I'm like, okay, let me go watch this video. Jordan says you need to come market for him too.
Listen, he needs to. I think that Jordan needs to just be a little more consistent. That's all. Just
Uh-oh,
try to build
Jordan.
consistency, man.
Jordan, you're getting some free dollars.
Yeah.
Advice here. Consistency is what you need. So talk to us about the pros and cons. So you are in a full-time position, but you're doing part-time entrepreneurship, right? So talk to us about, is there any pros to that? If there are, what are those and what are the cons?
I mean, so of course, the pros of being a full time, physician and a part time content creator, in my opinion, is that I don't have to post my entire life on the internet. Right.
Mm,
So I post because I am a semi private person. And so I have the option to post what I want and
mhm,
then go about my job. And I feel like, a lot of content creators who are full time content creators, it's so difficult because your entire content revolves around your life. My
mhm,
content revolves around my job. And so I post portions of my job that I want to share. And if I don't want to share it, I won't share it. So I think
mm,
that's one of the biggest pros for me. And then,
mhm.
of course, another pros is the extra money that I'm making. As a
Yes.
resident, I don't make that much. And so I get to make a little bit more, dispensable income on the side that I
Mhm,
can use to say, okay, this is money that I have that I can either save or I can use to go here, there, and everywhere, which
mhm,
I definitely enjoy.
mhm.
The cons that come with it, of course, the difficulty that comes with working anywhere and being a content creator and having people not understand the dynamics of being a content creator and what you can and can't share on the internet. And there's like this fine line. I've
Mhm.
seen so many healthcare professionals get fired from their
Yeah, I've
jobs
seen
because
some.
of the things that they post.
Yeah.
So you have to be like very mindful of what you put on the internet. And some people just, they don't understand HIPAA. Of course, the other cons that come with it is some of the comments that I get.
Oh,
Um, the people think that when I have that MD behind my name, that I am not human and I don't have any kind of feelings and emotions. And so
mhm,
because of that, they feel like they should say anything and everything. And sometimes it gets to me. I'm not gonna lie. It gets to
yeah,
me sometimes. And sometimes, Josh will tell me, shake it off, move on, let it go. But it doesn't always happen like that.
yeah.
So those are kind of, the biggest cons. And then of course, not being able to try to do this every single day. Like I just talked about, like I'm not as consistent because I have a full-time job. So sometimes I'm able to post 3 or 4 times a week. And there are some weeks when it's just so busy, I'm posting once a day and I'm going about my business. So
Mhm.
yeah.
So, okay, so some of the pros that you were saying was the extra money. Everybody likes a little extra money in their pocket.
Yeah.
They want to do. And that's how you can really start like doing investments and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
And then of course the cons I've seen, I remember there was a story in the media with the nurses or something that they did something,
Mm-hmm.
and the next day I heard they were fired because they were talking about their patients or something like that. But I know that in your videos, I noticed that you're very careful in what you post and
Yeah.
stuff like that. And so I know that even that must be hard to make sure you're not exposing and all that good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so but we love your content, ma'am. So we want to.
Yeah, no, it's key to not violate HIPAA.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
I need my job at the end of the day, and so
Because TikTok is about to go.
listen, they're about to ban TikTok, and I've had so many people who ask me like, "So
What
what
are
are
you
you
gonna
gonna do when they ban TikTok?"
Yeah,
I'm a
you got
full
a real job. Right. Okay. So, but you also are on YouTube too. I saw you venture over into YouTube and you're posting your videos. You went viral over there too. And I'm like, okay, because I've been posting so many times. And I'm like, come on now, Shannon needs to get on my marketing team. So
yeah.
what I do want to ask is how how do you make money as a content creator? And then on the flip side, are there expenses for you, like with that part-time business that you have? So yeah, so tell us, how do you make money for somebody who's interested in being a digital content creator?
So there are several ways that you can make money on social media. And I think two of the biggest ones that I use, one is when you have, I think it's 10,000 followers on TikTok. TikTok allows you to monetize your content.
3,000?
That is over, I think it's either 10,000 or 1,000 followers. I think it's 10,000.
10? Sis, I'm at 100.
You monetize, so your longer videos, like your videos over a minute, they allow you to monetize it.
Okay.
And then brand deals, so brands reach out to you and they're able to pay you to advertise their content, which is a new thing that is actually, kind of running the place now. Nobody's listening to ads on the radio, nobody's reading the newspaper for ads. We're all on social media, and so it's a brilliant way
Yeah.
to get your ads out from your favorite content creators by just
Mhm.
watching it on social media. So
Yeah.
those are kind of the main ways that people make content, make money from your content.
So do you have, like, for you, so most businesses, they have expenses. I remember Shanice was on here and she said she buys a camera every year and stuff like that. Like, do you incur any of those expenses or any type of
I am very early in my content creating business. And I think that as a full-time content creator, you have to invest in all of that stuff. Me, on the other hand, I have an iPhone 13, and that is my camera. That is my tried and true, and that's what I use. And so I might upgrade my phone to a new phone, but like as far as expenses, no, myself.
Wow. So you're making all the dough then. Because
Yeah.
if you're in a business and you're just getting income in, and that's smart too, just using your phone, just using what
Yeah.
you have to make your content. That's really smart. How did you feel when you went viral? I know you've been viral several times. How does that feeling come about? And then I want to know, a lot of times I have to go to you, like, Google, to try to figure out how much do you make if you have this amount of views and blah blah blah. Can you tell me, please, because the internet has so many different information. So first, how did you feel, or how do you feel when your videos go viral?
So, of course, it depends on the kind of video that goes viral, right? Because if it's a video that's not making me any money, it's
Wait, so you can go viral and not make money?
yeah, because your content that makes you money is the ones that has to be over a minute long.
Oh, okay.
So, I mean, the going viral kind of bring people to my page and help my page grow.
Mhm.
And then, of course, the ones that go viral that I'm making money from, I'm happy about that because it's sometimes it can be a lot of money.
Yeah.
How much money you make really is based on like the RPM, which is kind of how much TikTok pays you per 1,000 followers, 1,000 views.
Okay.
And that varies, which I've learned recently because I've had videos that made, hundreds of thousands, millions of views, and they didn't do so hot. And I'm like, what's going on?
Yeah.
So, it really depends on how TikTok wants to scale how your RPM is. And I've had RPMs that are, nothing, like $1, which is great. And then I've had RPMs that's like 5 cents. And so even a video that gets 18, 20 million views with an RPM of 5 cents, you're making $1,000, you're making
Wait.
$500. So it
Wait.
really just depends.
Wait, that's kind of crazy. You said
Yeah.
5 cents, like
Yeah.
cents? Did you mean
Mhm.
to say, you sure didn't mean to say dollar?
No, the highest RPM that I've probably had was maybe like $1.12. Which when you think about a
That's per
video,
1,000 view?
that's per 1,000 view. And when
Okay.
you think about a video that goes viral that, has like 17, 18 million views, that's a lot of money. But
Mhm.
then when you have a video that, the RPM is 5 cents, you're making $500 on that video.
Oh my
And
goodness.
I know that's for me, I'm still being positive, right? Because $500 that I did not have. So
Right,
I'm
right.
happy about it, but it's still, it's different for a content creator who this is their full-time content. It's like
Where's your
it's
money?
hard to keep up with how it fluctuates and how do I have my expenses and I'm living off of this. But fortunately for me, that's not my, that's kind of like my second source of income. It's not my first.
So basically, you're saying that TikTok determines the RPM based on whatever algorithm they have.
Yeah.
So you can work hard and get this 18 million view video that's over a minute, but whatever they do, it can say $1 to 5 cents. So you just
Yeah. Yep.
pray about it and get lucky.
Hmm.
Oh, okay. So can you talk to us a little bit about, I know you're not over on the YouTube side, right? So you just told us how TikTok would pay. So now, can you compare the two platforms? If someone were to say, I want to do content creating, which platform do you recommend or can you recommend?
So I think that because I'm so early on my YouTube journey, which I will say, I got extremely lucky with YouTube. I posted one video and
Mhm.
that video went viral on all of the platforms that I posted it. So, shout out to you guys because you guys really blew up that one TikTok video. And so it
Oh,
went
the cleaning. You got to
yeah,
talk to us about that cleaning
that
video.
cleaning video went extremely viral on YouTube, and it's actually still going. And so right now it has almost 20 million views, and that has gotten me 30,000 followers within like a couple of weeks. And
Oh, so one video did all of that?
well, I've posted other videos, but it is the
Okay.
main one that has
Okay.
gotten me quite a lot of followers. And
Mhm.
so that kind of also translates into making money. And I will say right now, both TikTok might be a little bit more just because I haven't been posting longer form contents on YouTube. It's really
Mhm.
only the shorts. So TikTok definitely is where I'm making a little bit more money than I'm making on YouTube, but it's still a steady flow. I
Mhm.
definitely think that, having both, because why not? You can really repurpose your content, and whatever you post on TikTok, you post on YouTube, and you can make money both ways. So repurposing your content and posting them, I think both, I think TikTok for one, you make a little bit more money,
Okay.
but definitely with YouTube, it's a little bit more consistent as like it just keeps coming.
Okay. So YouTube, it doesn't use the algorithm to say, oh, you get that. They don't use that is that RPM you said?
I think they use an algorithm, but I'm not sure what it's called that also pays you by the amount of views that you get.
Okay. I know they said that the ads or something like that, based on the views in the ads, you get paid that way or something like that. So we have a question in the chat, and I will go to that question before we continue. It says, what strategies do you use to ensure that your content remains relevant and continues to attract new viewers over time?
So trending sounds.
Uh,
Trending sounds, man. So the way that I do my content is I try to post maybe one or two long form contents of just what I'm doing that people kind of started following me for.
okay.
And then in between that, I keep up with the trending sounds. So if there's something that's trending, I try to use that trending sound and twist it a little bit to how it would relate to my content, which my
Mhm.
content is primarily residency and medicine, and I just try to twist it to fit into my content, and sometimes it does very, very well because people like those little short quick little snippets of things, and they seem to really enjoy that quick little 5 seconds of a video that's very funny and going with the theme, and it just kind of keeps new people coming.
Wow. Okay. So trending music, I gotta try that. I haven't really been
Yes.
doing that much on. Okay. But how do you find it? Because you know on Instagram you have the little arrow that shows you that it's trending. How do you
Hmm.
find the trending sounds on TikTok?
So I stay on TikTok way too much. So I think that is how I find how I find trending top sounds is
Uh-huh.
they will just like pop up on my page. And so after I've seen like a couple of, the same sounds going round and round and round, I'm like, okay, this is a trending song. How can I spin this to make this into what I am talking about? And so it'll like, just you just got to be on there a lot, basically.
I just need to come to your page and find the trends and then use that.
I
Okay.
mean, I don't use them all the time, but I try to use them whenever they're relevant to me and they're not too, explicit. I try to use them. Yeah.
Okay. All right. We have a question from TikTok. It says, how has making content helped you in your relationship?
I will say this. You
That's
know
for making
what?
it up.
That's a really good question, and one that I never even like really thought about. But I will say, making content. So last year, I actually took my husband to Costa Rica for his birthday, and it was a whole
Yeah.
surprise trip, and it was totally funded by social media, which is very surprising to me because honestly, I never thought that I would be able to have social media fund my trips. And we're also, we are using it now to fund another trip. So it
Wow.
has definitely helped us to travel a little bit more than we anticipated when we started residency because we don't make that much. And so it has definitely helped us to like really kind of not have that financial restraint that we would have
Mhm.
otherwise had. And
Yep.
so I think in that aspect, it's definitely helped us.
Okay, so it has helped. And
Yeah.
something that you touched on is, when you have a business, I think I said it last interview with Philip, or I'm not sure who I said it with, but when you have a business, America runs on business.
Yeah.
And so you can write off a lot of expenses, including traveling. And as a digital content creator, you can write off travel, clothes, even if you wanted to buy cameras or stuff like that,
Hmm.
meals you eat, you can write off all of that because that's a part of your job or
Yeah.
business. So that becomes an expense and you're just living. You know what I mean? But you have to do it, the legal and correct way. So you have to file that LLC and those type of things. So, I think that's really good.
Yeah.
Philip, I know you're watching. We want to But anyways, all right, this is good. Thank you. Now, are there any secrets that you can share with people to help them determine whether they want to be a good content creator, even if they want to dive in? Like somebody might be on the fence, they're trying to decide, should I dive into this content creating? It looks like a lot of work. So what kind of secrets do you have, if any?
So my top thing is just be yourself. There
Mm,
is people out there that want to see you for you. And then of
mhm.
course, whatever you have to bring to the table is like we will say, "Oh, it's oversaturated. It's so many influencers." But there isn't you. Bring
Yeah.
yourself. Like come out there, show who you are and do your thing. There is a group of people. There's an audience out there for every single thing that we do. Like I've seen people who they're live streaming. There are people who they're just on here doing they're eating, they're sleep, like people are doing everything on social media and they're getting an audience.
Eating?
So
Oh goodness.
yes, like all these mukbangs and like people just eating and stuff like that, like you can literally do anything and you'll find an audience. So I say be your authentic self and
Mhm.
do kind of and do you, don't be afraid. And then of course be consistent with it. So you can't post one day and then you disappear for a week, for two
Yeah.
weeks I will
Yeah.
say social media rewards you for being consistent, especially TikTok. It rewards you for being consistent. It pushes your content out even more. So the more consistent you are, the better it'll be.
Okay. What about if they're trying to determine if they want to juggle their full time? A lot of people, listen, I got a full time and listen, what secrets do you have for us? Like, what apps are you using? Like, what makes it easy for you? Come on, give us something.
So so first of all, I'm a type A person. I
Okay.
like to keep my stuff. I have to keep my everything in my life organized. And so I'm very big on keeping a schedule of like when am I going to post, when am I going to do this, when am I going to do that. Of course, I don't stick to the schedule 100% of the time, but that's part of the reason why I have one, so that I can at least 90% of the time I'm saying this is my schedule and this is what I want to do. And then content creation, even though it's not your full-time job, you really have to treat it that way. And
Mm,
so, you have a full-time job, but as soon as, you get off your job and you're like, okay, I need to make content. And then you figure out making your content and you post it if you want to, or you want to save it for the next day type thing. So I treat it like it's a job. I treat it like a business
yeah.
because that's what it is to me. And
Right.
so, definitely if you can't just be the person that I'm just going to go with the flow because you
Mm,
have another job. So you have to be like, okay, I'm balancing my job. And then I'm balancing a second job, which is my social media, and try to
mhm.
stay consistent and do it as much as you can.
Yeah. You sound like Philip. Philip is like, you need a schedule. I'm like,
Yeah, for
no.
sure. You have to stay consistent.
Yeah. Okay. So basically, what I'm hearing is, in order for you, like, if somebody's thinking about being a content creator, they just need to be authentic and not try to follow what they're seeing on the social media.
Yeah.
And even if they're trying to do something or they want to do something that's already out there, still do it, because that you're not out there, right? If
Yeah.
somebody is, you can bring your own flavor, and setting a schedule is important, right? Because that's how you'll be able to push out your content, because you have to be consistent. All right, well, this is great. Let me see if there is any more questions for us in the chat. um yeah, so no, I saw Christina came in. She said, hey, hey, hey. uh I saw Jordan saying he needs you to market for him. So, is there anything that you are like, this is what I definitely want to achieve in content creating? Like, as a digital content creator, you have goals or something that you're like, once I get this, I know I'm good. Is there anything like that for you? I know
So
you're a surgeon and all. Yes, but
so
is
I set like small goals for myself. I set like for example, this year one of my biggest goals is I want to hit like 150,000 followers on
okay.
TikTok. Like
Okay.
that's my big goal. Like last year it was to hit 100,000, and this year I've upped that. So I set really small goals for myself, and of course I do have a monetary goal that I would like to hit by the
Okay.
end of the year, but I'm not going to share that.
Of course.
But yeah, so I do have small goals that I set for myself. I don't really have any that I'm like, within the next 5 years this is what I want,
Mm.
but I kind of take it a year at a time. And I mean, TikTok's gonna it's just gonna get banned, I think, so
Hopefully
it's
not.
kinda
A lot
difficult
of
for me
people make
to,
TikTok. I hope it doesn't get banned, right? There's a lot of people who does this for a living full time, right?
yeah.
I'm sorry, go ahead. Yeah, you were saying, so do you have any brands? I know there are brand deals. I don't know if you want to share, but if you don't have to tell us the brand, but are there any brands you're eyeing that you're like, please, I want to work with this brand, or this is a nice brand that could,
So of course, yeah, I do have a brand or two in my back of my mind that I'm like, if this brand reaches out to me, I'd be so excited to work with them. But I also will say I don't like free, or like, oh, just a brand deal that is not gonna pay me. I don't do those brand
oh,
deals
you don't
anymore.
want stuff.
Right? I don't do those brand deals anymore. So, but I do have a few brands that I'm like, if this brand reached out to me, I'd be happy to work with them.
Okay.
And then, I have brands that I'm working with now that,
Mhm.
and you guys follow me on TikTok, you'll see a little bit of my, the stuff that I post for my brands.
Yes, we
But
like your hubs.
one of the things that I make sure that I do is, I want to work with brands that aligns with, what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And my brand is Dr. Shan MD. It's
Okay.
residency. It's a woman in medicine. And so I'm not going to work with brands that has nothing to do with me. So that's
Mm.
kind of one of the things too. But yeah, I have a lot of brands that I have on my radar. That I'm like, I need to email you.
Okay, so you said that you don't want to work with any brands that are not paying you. If
No.
I'm a content creator, how do I determine like a pricing list or a chart to say that, this is what I'm going to charge? Like how do you even approach a brand and say you got to pay me money? Like
Yeah. I initially started out with pay free brands. They was reaching out to me like, hey, do you want to you post this, and for exposure, which is nice. But then the more I grew, the more I'm like, okay, I am reaching 20 million people on social media when I post certain things. And so I don't necessarily think that I want just free stuff.
yeah.
But I haven't reached out to any brands, which I think that's one thing that a lot of people do is they reach out to the brands and they say, hey, this aligns with me and I'd like to work with you. And people get a lot of brand deals that way. And then you have brands that will reach out to you, which is how I've been fortunate enough to get brand deals, is brands reach out and they say, hey, I see your content. I like your content.
Mm.
And I do a lot of research on like what content creators on like my scale are getting paid. And
Okay.
based on what they're getting paid and how their views look, how their analytics look, I go
Mhm.
from there to say, do I have the same amount of views? Do I have the same engagement? And then I'm like, okay, I can charge what you're charging, or I can charge a little bit more because my engagement is a little bit more than what you have.
Mhm.
And I pitched the highest number to the brand.
Yeah.
And if they say that's not in my budget, then they might knock down to exactly where I need them to be.
Oh, that's
Yep.
how we go to daddy, huh? We go to daddy up here, and then
Yep.
he puts us
That's
where we need
exactly
to
what
go.
I do. I say if the amount of money that I want to make on a brand deal is $1,000, I tell them that my fee is 15. And if
Mm,
it'll be nice for them to pay me 1,500, but if they drop down and say we only have 12 or we only have 1,000, I'm like, well, that was what I was
very
expecting
good.
anyway.
Very good.
Yeah.
Okay, that's some good tea right there. So you don't go initially with what you want to
Nah.
be paid. You go with a high number, negotiate to the
Yep.
middle, and then if you land where you need to be, you said, sure, you
Yep.
know what? I can work with you, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That's
That's
something.
exactly what
Okay,
I
that's
do.
very good. Okay, so we have a question from TikTok. Do you have to file 1099 for TikTok? I think
Yes.
it's does TikTok send you, right? You don't
Yeah,
file.
TikTok sends me a 1095, a 1099, and I put it in when I'm filing my taxes. Yes.
Yes. So if you make more than $500 anywhere, they're gonna send you a 1099.
Yeah.
And yes, you have to report it because it's
And
already sent.
yeah, and also the brands too. Like the brand deals that I've gotten, they've sent me 1099s as well.
Yeah. So you have to file those 1099s. We see another question here. How familiar are you with the provision of the new TikTok bill, and what potential impacts do you foresee on content creators? And have you thought about pivoting?
That's a really good question. So I am as familiar with the bill as much as any other person on TikTok. I don't know the full range of the bill. I just know that, America wants TikTok to sell, the parent company to just sell it so that it's not, I guess, Chinese based company.
Mhm.
And honestly, I think, it's going to be a huge impact. It's so many people whose their livelihood is social media and their livelihood is TikTok, and not just their livelihood, but in a sense that it's what's paying their bills. And during the pandemic, there were so many people who they left their job and they were making money as content creators,
Yeah.
influencers. And
Yeah.
so I can only imagine how some of those people are going to have to pivot to
Yeah.
other social medias to help them stay on and make that money. Or some people are just going to have to go back to their jobs, which are the jobs really out there right now in this economy? Not really. So I think that it's going to be a really big deal if it does get banned. But I think we have 9 months. So a lot of people who are full-time TikTokers, you have some time to pivot. As for me, I'm pivoting already. So I'm on YouTube a little bit. And again, I also have a full-time job. So I mean, if I lose, because I'm not going back to Instagram. I'm not gonna lie. I love Instagram, but I don't really like Instagram.
What?
So I'm not going back to Instagram.
Why?
Instagram's too fake for me, man. I feel like TikTok is where the real is. TikTok is where you can showcase who you are. And that's why a lot of times a lot of people don't make it on TikTok, because it's where you show your personality. And a lot of people don't have personality. You can just post
Mm.
a nice picture on Instagram and go about your business. You can't really do that on TikTok. We don't care. Everybody over here fine. So, so it's a little different. And so I don't think Instagram is ever going to be comparable to TikTok. And so
Mhm.
I'm not coming back. Sorry. So I'm taking my talents to YouTube. And you guys have really been hyping up my YouTube. I'm not gonna lie. Like, we've been having a great time over there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Wow. Philip has corrected me. I said I think I said more than 500. I meant to say 599. So more than $600, you would get a 1099 from
Yeah.
any company or any business. Thank you, Philip, for that correction. I saw a question from TikTok. How long have you been doing social media?
I've been doing social media now for a while. I initially started on Instagram. So even though I'm talking all this mess about Instagram,
Yeah,
I
you wrote
started
it in love, was it? Uh, okay.
So I started on Instagram, and I used to actually do workout videos, believe it or not.
Oh, yeah,
And
yeah.
that's where I started. And then it just kind of went from doing all those workout videos, and a lot of you guys really liked the, you know, the workout journey, and then I couldn't really work out as much in residency. And
Yeah.
yes, my husband and I started a Coded in Love page, and that kind of, we got a little bit too busy to do that, so we've been like trying lots of different things, and I guess TikTok is what's kind of stick. And so um that's kind of where we ended up. So started from making fitness content, and now just making lifestyle content. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Okay. So I want to go back a little bit to that question that Philip asked with the band, because you have a lot of younger people who are like so focused on being a digital content creator and being an influencer. So and then you were like, well, I have a full-time job, so I'm good. So I want you to kind of talk about, from your perspective, for those people who are just so set on that, the importance of getting a bread and butter or some type of education so that they can, because I'm a professor, and they don't, some of them don't care about, because they're like, we don't need a degree, you
Hmm.
know because we can go be a digital content creator. So can you talk a little bit about what your thoughts are on that?
Honestly, we were raised the same way. And so,
Yeah.
education for me is a big deal.
Hmm.
And regardless of whether or not you're going to go to college and get a degree just to become a content creator, to me, education makes so much of a difference. Like, you are signing contracts, you are, doing these brand deals. It's so many things that you're doing that requires you to have a level of knowledge,
Yeah.
and it comes from getting an education.
Yeah.
So, definitely think that, going to school and getting that education and finishing college. And I've seen so many people who finish college and then they're like, I am not going to go out in the workforce. I just want to be a social media content creator. And that's what they do. But, those people, in the end, if the social media stuff doesn't work out, they can pivot and go right back to working. It
Hmm.
makes it so much more difficult when you dropped out of high school and no longer want to do that because you're making so much money, and then it goes away. And then
Yeah.
also, I encourage people now, like, if it's going to get banned, like, start saving, start
Yeah.
investing, start
Hmm.
saving up. This is the rainy day.
Yeah.
It's the
They
rainy
gave you
day.
a head
So
start. Yeah. Yeah. No, that's a good point. I think I was sharing the other day that there is like 90% of people, 9 out of 10 people do not have an emergency fund.
oh my
And
gosh.
so if something were to happen, they're living paycheck to paycheck. That's serious. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And so especially if TikTok is that paycheck to paycheck,
Yeah.
so I didn't know that they have 9 months before they ban it. So, well, thank you for sharing that. So all of our content creators, I mean, it might not be banned because I think there's like some level of processes and stuff
Yeah.
that really have to come to pass. But in the event, you still want to prepare yourself, start budgeting, start getting that emergency fund together, and those type of things, because you don't want it to be a case whereby we're at the ninth month and
Yeah.
you're like, wait, it's really happening, if it does happen.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh
Yeah.
my goodness. Alrighty. So I don't see any more questions in the chat.
I don't
Uh
see any on my TikTok either.
let me see here. Also, with the internet, anything can happen, like blackouts and so on. So it's always best to have a backup plan. That's true too. That's true, because didn't Instagram like kick everybody off or
Yeah.
something like that?
So yeah, for
Um,
sure. Having a backup plan is very, it's
yeah.
important
Yeah, it's very
for sure.
important. So yeah, so let's see. We might be checking out. Are there any last things that you want to say um to your audience?
I mean, for sure. Thank you guys so much. And I have a little bit of my like TikTok live
Oh,
here too.
yeah.
But no, seriously, like, you guys have literally been on this journey with me since day one. And I would not have been here without all my loyal followers who keep up with my shenanigans. And I definitely appreciate it so much, because like, growing on social media, sometimes you can hit like a standstill, and you don't move. And I'm
Mhm.
glad that I'm able to pivot and try different things, and my people just kind of run with it. So I appreciate you guys so 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 much.
Oh,
And
wait. There is a question. It says, "What's the only downside to doing content creating?" I think I'm seeing this on your I'm on your live as well. Oh, there are quite a bit of questions here. I'm heavily considering surgery. How has it
Oh
been?
yeah, that's people asking about residency stuff.
Oh, but I did see the one about the downside
Yeah.
about content creation.
I think my biggest downside for creating content is definitely the limitations of like having a full-time job and trying to balance the content creation. And of course, I've mentioned this before, but there are just certain things that you cannot post as, as a healthcare worker, and you just I have to be mindful. So sometimes I would like to record certain things, not like patient or anything like that, but I'd like to record certain things, but I don't have the time to record it, or I'm really not able to. And so that's kind of part of it. So that's kind of the biggest downside, because I can't show you guys everything that goes on every day in
Mhm.
my life, because
Right.
HIPAA. But that's kind of the biggest downside for me.
Yeah, I see questions flying left and right now, Shanley. One
Okay.
of them are on my phone. It says, this is from Jessica. She's asking, do you ever struggle with taking the time for yourself since your work is 7 to 7 and you do content part time?
I will. So the thing about content creation for me is that I love it because it takes me away from my job.
Mm,
So it's kind of like my escape. So in a sense that it is actually helping me to actually like relax and do my thing, because it's fun for me. I'm enjoying it and it's a fun side of my life. And
mhm.
so, I mean, of course I take breaks and for myself and all of that, but I feel like when I'm doing my social media, that's for me, you
Okay.
know? Yeah.
Okay. So do you take days like this is my day? Because I know you're no.
No.
Okay, we have a question here. How do you go about partnering with companies?
Oh yeah, and this, I think I touched on this a little bit earlier, where I was saying that you have brands that will, you can reach out to brands and say, "Hey, I see this and the third, and I want to partner with you." And some brands will say yes, and then of course you have brands that will reach out to you. And I've noticed that, since because I've turned my social media into a business, and I've gotten like a professional email, and I've put it in my actually put it in my like captions on my, not my caption, but on my profile. And
Mhm.
businesses has been reaching out to me, just emailing me like, "Hey, we've seen your content, we like your content, and we're going to send you, want to send you, what are your rates," and all of that. So that's kind of the big way that I go about it, is brands reach out to me. But I've also seen where other people, have gotten the brand email and they've emailed them, and they have templates that they use to just reach out to brands.
Okay, and you touched on something. So you said you set up an email. Tell us about that. You turned it into a business. What did you do to turn it into a business?
Shout out to my sister.
Okay, toolkit for raising wealthy kids. Grab a copy.
So I definitely did the whole like LLC, got like a whole business account, got all of the, business stuff that goes with, making an LLC. So I started out with the LLC, and then I went ahead to because I'm making money on my social media, and I want to keep that separate from like my
Mhm.
personal paycheck.
Yeah,
So, I have a business banking account and a business, all of that. And then I created a, business email just
yeah,
to, filter out, this is work. And
yes,
that's part of it, is like, my social media is now, it's a job. It's a
yes.
full-time job, even though I'm doing it part-time, but it's a job. And so I do that. And I've seen where companies come in and they will reach out and say, "Hi, Dr. Shan, we see you're this, we'd like to partner with you." And there's
Mhm.
been a lot that I'm like, "No." And then there's some that I'm like, "Oh, sure, I've been wanting to work with you." So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, very good. That's very important to separate your business from your personal, right? So you want to get your LLC set up, get your EIN, your business bank account, your
Yeah.
business credit card, because you're a business, right? And you're
Yeah.
making money with your
I'm a
business.
businessman.
Yeah. She's like, Shanna, I'm a business owner.
Hello, Dr. Shannon D.
Yes.
Business
Okay.
owner, y'all.
So we do have another question. So do you ever have periods of not knowing what to post? How do you keep content ideas coming? Ooh,
This
that's a
is a really good question,
yes.
because I have like hit that like stagnant, I don't know what to post a lot. Just
Mhm.
because my life is very routine, right? Like I get up, I go to work, I operate, I go home. And I can't tell you guys about the surgeries that I'm doing. And
Right.
I can't tell you guys about the patients. So there's like very limited amount of things that I can do as far as like my job. And
Mm-hmm.
so I have to figure out like what content am I going to post. And I've had several times where I'm like, I have no idea what I'm going to post.
Right.
And, you know, I like to sit down and brainstorm. So I'll sit down with my iPad and I'll be like, okay, what content do I want to post? What do I want to say? And so I'll be like, you know, do I want to do a content where I'm talking directly to the people, or do I want to record like a day in the life? And if I'm
Mm-hmm.
recording a day in the life, what am I going to touch on when I'm talking about when I'm doing this day in the life? And so
Mm-hmm.
I'll just sit down and map out what I want to talk about. And then sometimes Joshua will help me a little bit with the content, and he'll be like, okay, maybe you can do this, maybe you can do that.
Yeah.
And, you know, he helped me too. Like even the, you know, the cleaning videos, which was a really huge pivot,
The
which was
cleaning.
successful pivot, you know, was such a brilliant idea. So, you know, sometimes I've just, you know, I switch up the content completely, but try to keep it within the realm of what I do.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Philip says Grand Coffee House will be reaching out to you.
Sure,
Okay.
I can definitely send you guys my rates.
She's gonna send over the rates, sir. Felicia said, repurpose some old stuff, make it about the year of residency you're in. That would be cool.
Yeah,
Okay.
definitely, for sure, for sure. And TikTok has a way now too where they'll show you like, oh, this day on this day 2 years ago, and so you'll have content pop up, and you know, yeah, definitely repurposing old stuff for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah. Jessica is over here in my inbox. She goes, get back to posting workout stuff for for the skinny
You
girl.
know, I did try posting the workout stuff. That was kind of what I started with on TikTok. It didn't go over well. And
Oh, really?
so, yeah, it didn't. And so that's kind of why I left it. I kind of gave up on the workout. Yeah, the workout stuff,
So it's not for TikTok, but it works well on
it
Instagram.
does. My TikTok, my workout stuff works well on Instagram, but
Oh,
they're
interesting.
not messing with it. And I think now that I'm on a different fitness journey that I was on back in the day, I don't know how well it's going to come off, but I will try.
Okay. Okay. And another question came in. So do you make content more on the views or what you want to post or what you want to do?
A combination for sure. So I definitely want to make content that I think is going to go over well with my followers, right? But I also want to make sure that, you know, I am getting the views and I'm getting the likes and I'm getting the comments and the engagement, because that's how you grow.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I've had contents that don't do well. And you know, in my opinion of not doing well could be different from other people's opinion of not doing well. But I've had contents that don't do well, and I still keep them up because I genuinely like that content.
Yeah.
So I make a content for, you know, a combination of both. I like it and I want it to do well.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's a good way to end out. I don't see any more questions coming. And I know you're a busy surgeon and you probably got to go to bed soon because you probably got to get up and go.
I have cases in the morning at 7:30.
Oh my goodness. So we do want to say thank you, Dr. Shan, MD, for taking the time out of your listen, guys. I was going back and forth with her. When can you come on? 2 weeks, the week after this week. And so, I have to say thank you so much for coming on and sharing all these nuggets with us. I know there was somebody talking about being a surgery resident and wanting to know
I'll
how.
answer a couple of them on my live later.
Yeah, because you also have a lot of content around that too.
Yeah,
Um,
for sure.
about what surgery has been like as a resident and stuff like that. And so, again, we just want to say thank you for sharing the business side with us.
Yeah, for sure.
Little trips on how to, even though you said it was, getting over to YouTube was by, I don't know what you said, but you did do it. A lot
Yeah,
of people are still trying to do it. You have about 20 million views on that video.
yeah.
And that clean video, y'all should go look at her cleaning video. She has skills. Her and Joshua, whatever they're doing over there, they're doing some things over there. They have some cleaning skills.
Yeah,
But
no,
anyway, that video just, I'm
I don't
like,
know what happened, but on all platforms, that video had like 50 million views, which is very shocking to me. I don't know.
wow. Wow. Okay. But thank you, thank you, thank you. And keep up the awesome job. I know a lot of us, we're out here rooting for you. We are proud of you. Keep doing the thing. Hopefully, I don't see you in the hospital doing anything on me.
I'm just saying, hopefully I don't see none of y'all either. I do not
We
want
don't
y'all
want
going to
you
the
to see us.
hospital.
If you see Dr. Shan, you're in a trauma. We don't want to be in a trauma. We don't want to do that. So we cancel that in the name of Jesus. But we're going to wish her all the best from afar to do her thing, especially as a content creator. And we pray that you do get the brand deals that you're looking for and you keep blowing up. And we're just going to keep supporting you.
Yes.
So again, thank you
Thank
so
you so
much
much
for
for
tuning
having me, and
in.
thank you guys for tuning in.
Yes, so we will sign off for tonight. Have a good one, everyone. Happy Sunday.